What are your thoughts on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II?
I'm very sorry to hear of her passing. End of an era. She's a lovely woman, tremendous leadership to the free world in the Second World War. And I think it's sad, and I send on my condolences to her family.
It's quite sad because she's done so much, but she has so many respect, and I feel like her passing is going to be one of the moments that'll kind of bring, I wanted to say the world together, because you can't hate the queen, right? And everyone just respects her for that.
Hopefully we can get a bit closer through this.
It's sad, but at 96 she lived a good life and she left a good legacy for the rest to be held.
Well, it's a powerful end of an era. She was ruling for 7 decades, so the history that's occurred and her maintenance of stability, which is, I think is the role of the monarchy, has been significant.
So I'm heartbroken. I do come from British heritage. My parents were new immigrants to Canada many years ago, and I was born here. I used to watch the Queen's speech every Christmas Day. My mother was a big fan of the royalty. So very heartbroken.
Obviously, it's sad when anyone dies. I don't know, I'm kind of excited to see what the succession of the monarchy is going to be like after her. For as long as I've been born, I only known her rule, so I'm excited to see what's coming next.
Oh, I'm sad that she passed. She was a queen for a really long time, right? And beloved by the people of England and the kingdom. So it's just sorry that she's passed.
I think, it's sad when someone passes away, the woman, but, the monarchy is not something I support. They have a pretty vicious colonial history. I don't think it's something to celebrate.
And even if one is not a monarchist, one cannot help but admire the dedication that she's shown for 70 years. And therefore there's to be an outpouring of gratitude and sympathy for her family.
Definitely very saddened by it. I mean, she's always been the queen. I'm 25, so my entire life, my parents' entire life. As someone who's joined the armed forces, I was looking forward to, serving the queen, but now it'll be her son, King Charles, which I'll be happy to do, but certainly will miss the queen and just what she's meant to Canada and the whole Commonwealth in general.
Queen Elizabeth, my mother, are almost the same age, and I've always thought of her as my mother, which a lot of people think of her as their grandmother. And yeah, it sort of made me cry when I heard she had died.
It's very upsetting to hear that the Queen has passed away. As myself, as an immigrant to Canada, she's also a figure and an icon for Canadian culture. So it's very upsetting, and I hope that probably time can help us heal her loss.
I sort of thought, she would. Everybody has this idea that she would live forever, but at the same time, I could see it coming just because her, I see newsreels that her health is failing. So, a little bit shocked because she's been the only monarch that I've known.
Well, for me, I've been quite emotional because it's like a passing of a family member in a sense, because she's always been with me. She's the only monarch I've ever known.
There are some things you kind of think are permanent, they're never going to go away, and she was one of those things. I always thought she would always be here. But you recognize she was 96. This somewhat isn't a surprise, but it just, you get up in the morning and suddenly there it is, and you know that she's gone, you can't help but be really saddened by it. It's really quite crushing, actually.
Really didn't understand what was happening until we found out that the Queen had passed, and we had shivers. It's really the end of an era. I don't think that we'll ever see this. And I am personally not a monarchist, but the Queen was the person that really held the monarchy together over this past 70 years, and she did a phenomenal job, and I don't think anybody will actually do as good a job as she had.
In my 14 years of service, she's always obviously been the head of state, the figure we salute to, along with our country and the flag. And it's sad in a way to see her go. But at 96 years old, she has very much done her service for the Commonwealth. And I believe all Canadians should take a moment and welcome the new era at the same time. I think it's a turning point in our history.
I remember her as a kid coming to Canada, and my dad was always, he was in the armed forces and in the war, and I always had great respect for her, and I guess he passed that on to us. And I just thought her ability to be so dutiful was exemplary.
I think the Queen will be greatly missed. She's a big part of Canada's history and of the world history. Long reigning monarch. I think she'll be missed by a lot of people.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself a monarchist, but I think the impact of the dedication to service that she exhibited, and I think her role in helping to end apartheid, are what stands out for me in terms of, a life well lived, for sure.
Well, for me, I think it's an end of an era, and such a beautiful lady. Like, even at her age, she's going to be well missed. I had so much respect for her.
She's been the Queen our entire lives.
Yeah.
So I can remember singing God Save the Queen when I was a little girl for my brownie badge, and she just kind of stuck with me.